Kathy Coy's crime is one of the most tragic and horrifying in recent memory. In 2011, her brutal murder of Jamie Stice, a 21-year-old pregnant woman from Kentucky, shocked the nation. Coy's desperate attempt to claim a child as her own led her down a path of deception, violence, and cruelty, leaving behind a trail of heartbreak. At the time of the crime, Kathy Coy was 34 years old and a mother of 2 teenagers, a 13-year-old daughter and a 14-year-old son. She had been through some difficult times in her personal life, which may have contributed to her instability. Coy had recently suffered a miscarriage and was unable to conceive again, which led her to a desperate longing for a baby. She went to extreme lengths, planning an unthinkable crime to fulfill her desire. Coy targeted Jamie Stice, a young mother-to-be excited about her pregnancy and looking forward to welcoming her baby boy into the world. Jamie was vulnerable and unsuspecting, qualities that Coy preyed upon. Coy met Jamie through Facebook, where they bonded over pregnancy. Pretending to be friendly and supportive, Coy gained Jamie's trust, offering to help her buy baby supplies and prepare for the upcoming birth. In reality, Coy had sinister plans. She wasn't interested in helping Jamie. She planned to steal her baby. On April 13, 2011, Coy convinced Jamie to shop with her. Jamie, unaware of the danger she was in, agreed. Coy drove Jamie to a remote area near Bowling Green, Kentucky. There, the true horror began. Coy attacked Jamie, using a stun gun to incapacitate her. Jamie, shocked and unable to defend herself, became the victim of Coy's brutal assault. Coy then proceeded to commit a chilling act. She cut open Jamie's abdomen and removed her unborn child. Jamie died from the horrific injuries inflicted by Coy. After taking the baby from Jamie's womb, Coy left her body behind in the remote location. She then fled the scene with the newborn baby boy. Coy planned to pass the child off as her own, so she brought him to a friend's house. At this point, the baby was still attached to the umbilical cord and part of Jamie's uterus. Coy told her friend that she had just given birth and that the baby was hers. However, the friend immediately became suspicious due to the baby's condition. The newborn, named Isaiah, was premature and in distress. Realizing something was wrong, Coy's friend called an ambulance. At the hospital, Coy's lies began to unravel. The medical staff quickly noticed the unusual condition of the baby and questioned Coy's story. The fact that the umbilical cord was still attached to part of the uterus was a clear sign that Coy had not given birth. The hospital staff notified the police, who soon began investigating the situation. When authorities questioned Coy, she initially stuck to her story, claiming the baby was hers. However, her lies couldn't hold up under scrutiny for long. Investigators quickly connected Coy to Jamie Stice's disappearance. Back at the crime scene, Jamie's body was discovered in the remote area where Coy had left her. The brutal nature of the crime shocked the investigators and the local community. Coy had not only killed Jamie, but had done so in one of the most violent and gruesome ways imaginable. The truth of what had happened came to light, and Coy's involvement in the murder became undeniable. During questioning, Coy changed her story. She admitted to taking the baby, but then claimed that she had bought him from someone for $550. This story, like her earlier lies, fell apart as investigators continued to gather evidence. The brutal facts of the case emerged, and Coy was arrested for the murder of Jamie Stice and the abduction of her unborn child. The crime shook the Bowling Green community and garnered nationwide attention. People were horrified not only by the brutality of the murder, but also by the calculated nature of Coy's actions. She had planned every step, from befriending Jamie to abducting her baby. The fact that she had pretended to be Jamie's friend and had lured her to her death under the guise of helping her made the crime all the more disturbing. In February 2012, Kathy Coy pleaded guilty but mentally ill to the charges of murder, kidnapping, and fetal abduction. By entering this plea, she avoided the death penalty but was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The judge in the case, Warren Circuit Judge John Grice, described Coy's crime as a true display of evil. The courtroom was filled with emotion as Jamie's family listened to the details of the crime and expressed their grief. During the trial, Kathy Coy remained largely unemotional. She closed her eyes during the victim impact statements and chose not to wear headphones that would have allowed her to hear the statements more clearly, as she was hearing impaired. Jamie Stice's family spoke about the profound loss they had suffered and how Kathy Coy's actions had torn their family apart. One of Jamie's cousins spoke during the trial, saying that while Coy would face punishment on Earth, she would one day face a higher court for what she had done. The trial also brought to light Coy's mental health issues, which had played a role in her defense. Coy had been diagnosed with a personality disorder and had a history of mental health problems. However, these issues did not excuse the brutality of her actions. The court found her guilty but mentally ill, meaning that while she had mental health problems, she was still responsible for her crime. The impact of the crime on Jamie Stice's family was immeasurable. Jamie had been a bright young woman with a future ahead of her. She was excited to become a mother and to raise her son. Her family had been eagerly awaiting the arrival of baby Isaiah, and they had been looking forward to sharing in the joy of Jamie's new chapter in life. Instead, they were left to mourn her loss and grapple with the trauma of the violent way in which she was taken from them. Despite the tragedy, there was a small glimmer of hope. Baby Isaiah survived. He was born 5 weeks premature, but he was a fighter. After being taken to the hospital, Isaiah was cared for by medical professionals who helped him recover from the ordeal. Isaiah was placed in the custody of his biological father, who has raised him with the love and support of Jamie's family. Jamie's family ensures that Isaiah knows about his mother and her love for him. They have worked to keep Jamie's memory alive, even as they continue to cope with the pain of her loss. The case of Kathy Coy also brought attention to the rare but horrifying crime of fetal abduction. While such cases are sporadic, they are often shocking due to the brutal nature of the crime. In these cases, the abductor typically targets a pregnant woman, usually to steal her baby. The abductor may go to great lengths to carry out the crime, as Coy did, and the consequences are often devastating for the victim's family and community. Kathy Coy's crime highlighted the vulnerability of pregnant women and the dangers that can arise when trust is exploited. Kathy Coy is now serving a life sentence in a Kentucky correctional facility. She will never be released, and she will spend the rest of her life behind bars. For many, this is a small measure of justice for the horrific crime she committed. However, for Jamie's family, the pain of losing their daughter, sister, and mother can never fully be healed. They continue to live with the memory of Jamie and the void that her absence has left in their lives. Isaiah, now growing up without his mother, is a symbol of the hope that remains even after such a tragedy. He is a reminder of Jamie's love for her son and the future she had dreamed of. While nothing can bring Jamie back, her family continues to honor her memory and ensure that Isaiah knows how much his mother loved him. The case of Kathy Coy is a tragic and heartbreaking story that serves as a reminder of the dangers of deception and the lengths to which some individuals will go to fulfill their desires. It is a story of loss, pain, and the resilience of a family determined to keep the memory of their loved one alive, even in the face of unimaginable tragedy.